Thank you very much for listening, and I hope you enjoy another episode of Full Buddy Cast and Coal Street Brewery presents Brew hosted by the owner of Coal Street Brewery, the brew master extraordinaire, and myself, Travis Kenny from Full Buddy Cast. Now, it's a podcast. It's a reoccurring one where we talk about craft brews. In fact, we look at Sean's life from growing up to now on how he is as a person and what's kind of led him to become a owner of a brewery, and you kind of see the behind the scenes type things that kind of go on there. This episode, though, we're going to talk about the beer of the week, which is the Brown. We're going to have Sean. Sean has the beer rant of the week, and that might become a recurring weekly thing as well, is where he rants about something in the beer industry, as well as he has a survivor story. He's survived a lot of things. He's an outdoorsman. So anyway, thank you for listening. I hope that you enjoy this. Please hit us up, and have a great day. Making your way in the world today, you really need a pod. Why don't you put your headphones in and give this one a shot? Wouldn't you like to just listen away and go to a place where everybody knows who you are? Listen to two guys brew Coal Street Brewery and Full Buddy Cast, two of the greatest names. Why don't you go and listen to this episode? All right, well, we got another episode of Brew with Travis Kenny and
Sean McDonald, Coal Street Brewery.
There he is. We're finishing each other's sentences. We're so on point right now. So he knew I was going to go for where he's from, Coal Street Brewery. We're going to talk a lot about Coal Street Brewery. In fact, we're sponsored by him. Real quick, for those that are listening, we've been doing this for about 2 weeks, I'd say, ish. Have you had a few other people show up because they listen to the podcast or anything like that?
Yeah, we picked up at least 6 or 7 people that come in and have checked in. If you check in with and tag Coal Street Brewery and then the Brew or just the Full Buddy Cast, you get $1 off your beer and then 15% off your growler fills. So.
Right on. That's awesome. That's excellent. So thank you for supporting it. Hey, you guys, check it out. I think what we talked about was last time was that you were 5 days, but now you are.
I'm 7 days a week. Yep. Okay,
open 7 days.
Open every day at noon. Weekdays I close at 8, and on the weekends I close at 9. But I always have like the 10-pint rule, so I have to sell 10 pints an hour. And I'll stay open. So if it's 9 o'clock, but you have 10 people in there and they all order again, I'll stay open until 10. So
really? Yeah. And are you licensed to be out till 2 a.m. like everything else?
I'm the same as any other bar. I can stay open till 2.
So if you got 40 people crushing it,
I'll stay open. You know,
you might be sleeping on the cot in the back.
Yeah, there is still the I can't overserve. So
of course. Right. So when I say crushing, I mean. They're enjoying their drink, but
drinking responsibly.
Yes, excellent. I had someone hit me up. I didn't tell you this yet, even off the air. There's a lady that hit me up. I don't know if I should say her name or not, but she messaged me. She said, "Hey, are you going to be down there regularly?" And I'm like, "Well, I've been there a whole lot more." And so,
like every other day,
right? And then I said, "But we are looking to down the road, maybe." Or a random Thursday, and we'll get it out there. We'll advertise a little bit, or Tuesday or whatever night that works. Record from there one night.
Go down and do a little live podcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
I got a little area, on the pews all set up. We can do it.
Yeah, and then bring Joey, bring a few others, and we'll just have the time of our lives.
And then we can crush it all night.
We can crush it all night. Absolutely. So with that said, thank you again for listening, everybody. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I think we've got a pour coming up here. He's got a nice growler.
Full cold.
Get 15% off, guys, of these growlers if you go check in. Also, crowlers. You got crowlers, correct?
I do. A canned growler. So you can pick anything that we have on tap and put it in a crowler.
And then what's cool with that is I took that golfing the other day. And, you get plenty of beer. You You take that hiking, you take that golfing, you take that fishing. You know, you're not lugging around a big glass jar. That's for your refrigerator. That's for your refrigerator. That's for, you know, I would say if you're going camping, you can probably take a growler and a couple crowlers. But those are really good because all you have to do is just crunch those down and toss them in the recycling bin, and you don't have to lug them back. So yeah. I'd say grab some of those crowlers, man.
They're super convenient. You know,
super convenient. Yeah,
especially on a hike, you can hike in. You gotta, you know, kind of wears you down, but then you have that reward, and you drink it, and then you can smash it. And,
absolutely, and it's done. So what we got? What do we have right here? What is the beer of the week?
So last week we were talking about the first brew that we did at the brewery, and that would be our brown.
Yes,
so I brought the brown. So this is kind of our roots right here. So it's nice roasty. It's got a little chocolate malt in it. It's got the sweetness, you know, on the front side, and then kind of a chocolatey finish that, you know.
That is delicious.
Yeah, it's a great summertime. I love it for barbecues. I think it's a year-round beer, but I keep it on through the summertime. I don't carry a lot of dark beers in the summertime because dark beers tend to be, everybody thinks they're a little bit heavier, and so they don't want to be slowed down. They like the lighter, fruitier or light beers for, you know, lawnmower.
And you probably have more fruits in season probably during this time as well.
That too, yeah.
That's cool. That's exciting. Well, that's good. Okay, so let's get some little detail on this puppy.
Yeah, so it's like 5.8 to 6 point in ABV. So it's not super intoxicating. And then the hop level is really, really low. So your IBUs are only 20, 25. So you don't have to worry about the bitterness. The actual bitterness that's in here is not from the hops. It's from the grain because there is some astringency from the grain. So, but it's a good balance. You have to have that sweetness and that bitterness. Otherwise, it'll be too sweet.
Yeah. Hey, just like marriage, you got to have that sweetness and that bitterness mixed together.
Also, you know, there's... We're really consistent on our beers, but that being said, like seasonal wise, there is a little consistency change. As the temperature change, the barometer goes up. We don't control the humidity and the barometer inside of our brewery, so it does affect the brew a little bit. So this one comes out a little bit sweeter. In the wintertime, it kind of gets a little drier.
Okay.
That's one of the great things about craft beer. It's, you know, it goes, you know, it changes from time to time. From batch to batch, it's, you know, not always exactly consistent.
Yeah.
And that would be one of the big differences between a small craft brewery and a big brewery.
So what are you eating with this? Like what?
This, like I said, this is good barbecue. So good burger, you know, even steak. Yeah, it's a good meat. Good meat.
So do you got plenty of this on hand for Thursdays with the mint?
Absolutely, yeah.
So what's go ahead and promo that real quick.
Yeah, so every Thursday through July, we're doing a burger and a beer special with the mint. You come in, you order a beer from us, and then you order one of their 5 burgers, and it'll be delivered to you over there. You know, it's all together, the package deal is $25. You can buy them separate. You know, it depends on how many beers you're having, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Excellent. We're right on. Hey, so I know we're talking about burgers, talking about the brown beer, talking about barbecuing. And with the summer, like it's super, for me at least, hey, I'm going to grab some Coors Lights, I'm going to grab some Bud Lights, I'm going to grab some Budweisers. I'm going to go do that. It's quick, it's easy, it's at the grocery store. I'm going to go bring them real quick. What is, like, do you got anything to say on that?
Yeah, I have, as a craft brewery, I always have a rant about the big, beers.
We got a beer rant?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
all right.
so,
I love it. I'm going to sit back and relax on this one.
Right. So everybody's all about the Budweiser. Obviously, you see it on TV all the time. The easiest way to tell if a beer is a craft beer or if it's a bought beer is, one, if you see it on TV, with exception of Boston Beer Company. Boston Beer Company is the largest craft brewery in the United States, or actually in the world.
Wow.
And they're great. Jeff Koch, I believe his name. The owner, the one that's always in the ads, he actually went to Harvard, so he's an attorney.
Really?
And they legislate for all craft breweries and try and keep us afloat.
Nice.
Budweiser, and one of the reasons why Budweiser is such a enemy of the small guys is they're always trying to push us out. Now, me being a local community brewery, I don't have the grandiose idea that I'm going to put my beer on tap everywhere in the world. I am on tap in every restaurant here in town. At the Mint, at the Rainier, at Jackson's, at Kelly Mercantile. But I don't plan on. I've been out of town a few times, but it's not really the reason for that is I have to take that keg and deliver it and then go and get it when it's empty.
Right.
You can hire a distributor, but this is where the Budweiser thing comes in. So Budweiser doesn't like us taking handle shares. So every time you go to a tap house and you see multiple handles, they want all of those handles. So what they'll do is they'll actually push the small guys off the truck. Like they'll over order a truck so that the small guys can't get their kegs on the truck. Really?
So if they show up to a restaurant, you got 6 handles, and then it's like, hey, there's one available. Yeah. They're gonna do their best to try to take one.
Take it out. Yeah, that's the same with it's super funny when you go in the grocery store and you walk down the aisle.
Yeah.
Any of the things that you see the whole entire label, like it's turned sideways, so you see that whole entire label. That's guaranteed. It's a Budweiser, or it's either Miller Coors or Budweiser. Those are 2 big ones. Huh. If you're only seeing like the side, the end of it, then that's a craft brewery. That's like a hands down every time. That's what it is. So get those guys that you can't see. If you have to dig for it, that's the beer you want to buy.
That's the beer you want to buy if you have to dig for it.
You can also look for the independent craft label.
Oh, is there one?
I'm wearing a shirt.
I'm going to describe it real quick. It's a beer bottle that's upside down. It says independent craft on it instead of Brewers Association certified.
Yeah. Whenever you see that label, that's also a really important label to identify with. And then you know that it's a craft brewery, mom and pop spot. It's basically us versus like a mom and pop versus Walmart.
Yeah.
Walmart jumps in and brings in that China cheap shit, and we got the quality stuff where it's actual homegrown ingredients. We try and support local. With my ingredients, I'm always trying to source as local as I can. When it comes to our fruits, I do a basil beer. There's a little tiny farm right down by Flaming Geyser that I get all my basil from. And then with my rhubarb, I get that from Rock Ridge.
I love rhubarb, man.
Yeah.
So what's coming up with rhubarb?
So I just did a rhubarb beer. I might sneak another one in. I kind of did that in a small batch. It went out really good. Right now I have strawberries coming in. I got strawberries from this little farm down in Kent. When I put the beer out, I'll advertise. I can't remember their name.
That's okay.
But yeah, I'm always trying to source as many ingredients as I can locally. And then on the flip side, brewing beer, you always have that leftover grain. I get as much sugar out of it, but it's still pretty sweet. It's still good.
Yeah.
So then I'm sharing that with a local farmer.
Okay.
Need More Acres Farm. He has buffalo and beef.
Wow.
Yeah, he comes in. He's a great guy. He comes in, he always makes sure that I have extra buckets. So whenever I'm brewing, even if it's in the middle of the night, I have an extra bucket there and I can just throw it in there.
So real quick, 'cause I'm new to all this. I get lost in the sauce with this. Like you have a lot of information. So they want grain, but isn't that grain like sopping wet?
No, so the liquid that I pull out of it is what I put in my boil kettle to boil down and turn into beer.
Okay.
So I try and take out as much of the liquid as I possibly can. It's still somewhat damp, but it's not like sopping wet. No.
Okay.
It's just wet grain.
It's just some wet grain.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
It's still warm when I get it and put it in the bucket. So yeah.
Nice. And so that's you being environmentally friendly. Reusing, reducing, all that stuff. Okay. Exactly, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's one of the farms that I've worked with. I've also L&B Mini Ranch, who unfortunately are moving to Arizona.
Oh, really?
I worked with them. They have pigs, and so I supported them with some grain. And then on the flip side, they gave me some bacon. Last fall, I made like a bacon beer for the Bacon Beer Festival.
How do you do that? Like, tell me how you make a bacon beer.
Well, I did 2 different batches in 2 different ways.
Okay.
So the one batch, I actually cooked the bacon and then used the bacon as like a dry hop. I cooked the bacon on both sides, but the one is at the finish, so I'd have it on the tail, and then the other one I put it in the boil, already cooked, sprinkled it in, bacon bick sort of idea. Yeah, both of them came out all right. Definitely the bacon's in there. Kind of little backstory. I'm actually allergic to bacon, so.
Oh, are you really? How'd you find that out?
Yeah. So when I eat bacon, I get chest pains. It's like really painful.
So. I don't get chest pains, but I kind of feel it tighten.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think it could be the heart attack coming.
I have to. Yeah, exactly. It feels like I'm having a heart attack. Right. I have to lay on the floor.
Is it salt? Like, what is it that's doing it?
It's definitely the bacon. Because I mean that's the only thing that I have issue. Bacon and prosciutto. It's like the fat from pork. So when I eat pork chops, I cut the fat off, and I'm good.
So you still like you like to live a little dangerously still.
Well, so yeah, and that's the other thing. I love going to dive bars, and I absolutely love grilled cheese sandwiches. That's one of my go-tos when I've been drinking. But you can always tell. I take like 2 bites, and I go, "Oh, this is really good." But I know that you used bacon grease on your grill to make it really good, and then it kills me in the end.
Do you finish it?
Of course. I can't put it down. I know it's going to hurt later, but suffer for now. Suffer later.
Dude, hurting later is the worst.
Yeah, especially it's coming.
Oh, man. I was hurting last night. I filled up Rainier.
Yep.
At the Rainier, and then came over to Cole Street. And I had some drinks. I had some food. And I'm sitting there, and the waitress comes up. She's like, "You guys want dessert?" And my wife's looking at me like shaking her head at me. And I'm like, "Yeah, probably not." But I'm telling you, the Rainier has some great desserts. And so I'm like a sucker for cobbler. So if they would have said peach cobbler, I would have said like, nah, but I'm not a peach guy, but I'm a huge strawberry rhubarb guy.
Oh,
and so I'm just like, oh, what? Even if it was apple, I'd say, yeah. But she goes, I said, well, what's a cobbler? And she goes, well, it's, let's see, this year or this time of year, it's a strawberry. And she got to that far. I'm like, okay, yep, done. Yep. And it comes out sizzling. Oh, it's so good. So I ate that. Then I went over to your place, Cole Street, drank there. And by the time I got home, I felt like just stuffed out my ears. And it was a painful night. Let me just tell you, I was up just frequenting that bathroom, just trying to stay alive. I was just up, when you're overstuffed and you're just kind of just trying to get comfortable laying in that bed. Oh, just couldn't. Whether I laid on my right side or my left side, I was just a little too full. But anyway, yeah. So, but as I was eating, I was thinking, this is going to hurt me later. Yeah. So you're the same way.
Absolutely.
Are you the same way drinking?
I don't ever overindulge.
Yeah, I was going to say you can't.
I can't. No.
Yeah.
So as an owner, I can drink in my establishment, but I can't ever be intoxicated because I'm always like the owner, always the one that. So I drink a lot, but I'm never over intoxicated.
Yeah, I was going to say I've seen you have one, but I haven't seen you just like, all right, another one, yeah.
Yeah, well, lately I'm also the only one around, so I have to pick and choose at times. It's normally after we've closed.
Dude, it's getting busy down there at your new spot.
Yeah, it's starting to pick up. It's still not super busy.
It's not super, but
town is still pretty slow.
But it feels like that every time I'm there, you got like probably dozen plus wanderers that just kind of come in.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. New people.
Buying shirts, buying hats,
buying the swag, yeah.
Buying the swag, man. You got some good quality swag too. I know some of those T-shirts out there and what they cost to even make them. And you got some good quality stuff. So
yeah, always trying to come up with new ideas for that. So it's always something changing and kind of unique.
Yeah, and I don't mean to switch gears on you because I know we've got some time here, but I think we're about to get into this one. But I want to ask you this: Corey Bentley hooked it up with like this sweet.
Oh yeah, I saw that helmet. Yeah.
That helmet for Full Body Cast.
Yeah, he and I are in a fantasy football league too.
Yeah,
he does that on that. Yeah.
Did he do your logo too, or because he does?
Yeah.
Now I was gonna not talk about fantasy football, but I want to talk about your logos because you got a collection of shirts, you got a collection of logos, you got a collection of different types of things. Who does your artwork?
I bounced around quite a bit. Right now, like best hands down in Enumclaw is Oak. That's OOAK. They're actually they started in Buckley and now they're in Enumclaw and they do great work. Brennan, shout out to Brennan.
Right
Gilman. On. He's also in the industrial area where my actual brewery's at.
Yeah.
2551 Cole Street. He does great work. He did the latest logo that I have. He's the one that created that. And then he's helped me with the hats. He has a great embroidery machine where he does the embroidered hats.
Really?
They're a little more expensive, but
sure.
They last much longer.
Right.
And higher quality. Yeah, he does great stuff. Before him, I bounced around from quite a few different people. They're tough people to work with, where you tell them a deadline and for an event or something, and then the night of your event is when you get your stuff. I can't stand that. Versus Oak, 100%. Like you give them a deadline, they'll have it done in a week ahead of time. They're
really
always on time.
Right on.
Quality stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
That's great. See, and then who designs your stuff though? Do they design it too?
So I come up with the ideas,
Yeah.
and then I know quite a few people that come in and drink, and
Yeah.
so I'm always putting the idea like, oh, I see that at the brewery I have paper on the tables,
Yeah.
so people tend to do little doodles or draw, and then
Sure.
I catch them, and I'm like, hey, I saw that you did this. I have this idea. Could you put that to paper? That's where a lot of my stuff has actually come from, where they just doodle it out, and then I take it and put it on, computer, and then put it on a shirt, and I say, hey, and I give credits to them when it happens,
Yeah. Right on.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's exciting. I got to do that too. I was surprised by Corey. Corey was actually very impressive with that. So I didn't know maybe if he did your stuff at all, or he just focuses on the fantasy football things.
Yeah, he's really busy with that.
And we can dive into that real quick. I know that you got a cool story coming up, but let's talk a little fantasy football. Okay. Because it's itching, and I'm a part of it. I ran into Corey and Brandon, and Craig always is talking about it. In fact, we'll probably start. They've been talking to me forever about starting a fantasy football podcast, and maybe we'll do that. Kind of talk, because they do. You guys do it interestingly.
Yeah. Craig and Corey and I have been in the same fantasy football league for 15 years now.
That's insane.
Yeah.
So you're one of the founders.
Yeah. Brandon's in our league now. He's been in our league for, I want to say 3 years.
Yeah.
2 or 3 years. But yeah, we've been together for a long time, and we started an 8-man league, and then we expanded to 10. And we've been at 10, and we still have, I believe 7 of us are founding members. So,
and I think it's like
pretty much all the same people.
There's like a waiting list to get in there too.
Yeah. So what we did is, we started a smaller league, and you have to win the smaller league to be eligible to be in the upper league. But that's only if somebody from the upper league leaves. And we've only when we first started, we had like a computer team, and then somebody popped in, and then he moved to California, and then we had another person that came in, and they moved away. Really, the only reason why most of the people have left is because they moved out of state.
Oh, really?
Otherwise, if you're still in the area, you're still in our league.
You're still playing. Yeah. Now, is there anything where? Well, I guess we'll talk about that with them. But as a founding member, is it still fun?
Oh, dude, we have so many secrets about each other that, I mean, the shit talk is real. Yeah, like, yeah, and the pictures that come out, like, where'd you take that picture at? Fuck. Yeah.
And so they got a lot of dirt,
a lot of inside information,
a lot of inside info. Oh, and so if you're to leave now, you're just afraid that they'll put together a full spread on the Career Herald, just like center page. They'll open it up and it'll be just like 8 pictures of you.
This guy left. Yeah, and every year we do a vote on new rules to bring in, and every year there's always some funky stuff, like we had talked about. Like the loser has to wear like a carrot suit and go into a bar and have a drink. And then the second to the last place has to come in a rabbit suit and hang out. And then like the fourth one, I forget what the third one, he has to come in too. And you can't leave. The first one can't leave until the third one's there. And then they leave, and then you just go from bar to bar to bar.
Oh, I like that.
I voted that down. I didn't like that. There's too many people that know me.
It's too much creativity. We've always wanted to do ours. I've been in mine for about 8 years or so, and the one that I've always wanted to do is get a float for the
we've talked
Christmas
about that too.
Parade.
Yeah,
where either you're walking around or as the loser, or like on the toilet. Like there's a toilet on a back of some truck.
Sure.
And then you're sitting there because you're the toilet bowl champ or something like that. You're the worst player.
Yeah, we have an ass trophy. Yeah.
You guys have one?
We have an ass trophy, and then we take like the worst picture of that person for the year, and we put it on that. There's some pretty gnarly pictures on there. I won't lie, I'm on there a couple times.
I feel like this is like we're getting into like the secret society. Not many people will know about it.
But at the same time, there is a league rule that you have to have it in a place where somebody from the league, if they come into your house, they can see it.
Oh, really?
When you enter the house, they have to be able to see it.
And so do you have to go get it out knowing they're on their way, or does it have to be displayed?
No, no. It's supposed to be
displayed.
At any time they can come in and see it because they could sneak attack you, right? That being said, when I had the Ass Trophy, you could see it. You just had to see it from the right angle.
Okay. All right. That's hilarious, though. Yeah, those guys are absolutely so much fun. So the crazy thing is as we're talking about this, so I ran into Safeway. I'm grocery shopping, and then, of course you go to see. If you see Corey, you see Brandon. That's kind of like how it is. And so talking to Corey and Brandon, and they're like, "Hey, dude, we're playing Madden football and this and that." And I'm like, "Oh, cool. Well, no, we're doing a league." And I'm like, "Really?" And they're like, "Yeah. You want to get in?" And I'm like, "Dude," they're like, "Do you play?" And I'm like, "My oldest daughter's name is Madden." Yes.
Yeah.
Of course I play. Nice. And so I got invited in, and so I was told, "Hey, this person's 9, or the Giants, they're into week 10." So I didn't want to just come in and take the best team. But they're like, Giants are 9-0-1. So I'm like, okay, well. So I start looking at the other teams, and they don't tell you the standings. Again, I'm coming in at week 10. So these guys have all played 10 weeks, and so I don't want to come in and just immediately get the playoffs and be like, "Hey, what's up, guys?" And so I chose the Steelers. Didn't know this. I start playing. They're 3-7. So I'm like, I'm definitely not going to make the playoffs. Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, okay, well, so I kind of post it. Again, these guys, I don't think these guys do anything like half-ass.
Nope.
Like they do. Can I even talk about the Facebook? Can I even talk about that Facebook page?
You can talk about it. You just can't talk about what's in it.
Yeah. Okay.
That's why we have our own private.
They got their own private Facebook page for this Madden thing.
Yeah, we're shit talk.
Oh yeah, and so I kind of jump in there. I'm like, hey, I chose the Steelers, and some guy got on there. I won't mention names, but some guy got on there and said, "Hey, you should repick." And so then Corey hit me up, and he's like, "Dude, just take the Giants. It's cool." And I'm like, "Well, I don't know. I feel bad. Like I don't want to get playoffs immediately just showing up." And he's like, "No, you're gonna play Brandon 2 times. We need this."
Yeah.
and so, because Brandon's the Eagles. So
yeah.
anyway,
I played Brandon. Yeah.
Did you play him last? Oh no, who did you play last night?
I played last night. I played the 49ers. I don't.
We won't say names.
Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, and he was on quite a roll. He was undefeated. He lost to the computer, I guess. So he was like 8-1, and then now he's 8-2. Yeah.
Oh,
I beat
okay.
him. I returned a kickoff on him, and yeah, that kind of was a game changer.
There you go, man. See, football's fun, man.
Yeah.
So I think you and I play each other this week.
Nice. That'll be a good matchup. That's also the there's 8 people in there, and I think I've played 5 of them.
And you're probably not going to play 2 of them unless they make it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, right. But it's kind of frustrating at the same time. All these other people are playing on the computer. I'm playing all the real people who are actually, challenging.
I'm gonna pour a little bit more. So, with that said, is it okay? Because I didn't really get into this. I only do like 4 plays. Is that, or do you?
I don't want to tell you my strategy either.
Well, I'm not going to tell you my strategy so much, but is that allowed?
It's like Novocaine. You just keep doing it until they get so numb to it.
Exactly. then they figure it out. Then you move on to the next one. So is that what?
There's no rules on that.
Now, am I cool to go on 4th down, or do you guys like no? You would punt here.
I suck at kicking, so. That's my little tip. I probably will be going on 4th down.
Okay, that's all I needed to know.
But that's good. If I even see a 4th down. So
okay,
yeah,
okay. I'll punt on like the 3rd and 25s if that ever happens. If weird miracle.
If I'm on like the 10-yard line, your 10-yard line, I'll probably punt there.
Right, and if there's
I'm never stuck there, so.
But we do have one gripe that we share together. If you throw an interception, it's understandable. It's on me. I threw it, and the guy was covered.
I saw it coming. I shouldn't have done it.
But the thing that here's another rant. Here's a Madden rant.
The fumbles, goddamn fumbles. That's how I lost to Brandon. I mean, and that's how I lost to Lee Sinkovic too. It's that stupid fumble. I was in both times. I was, like we were going back and forth, like score. But I was in the lead, so I'm doing the math, and I'm like, time wise, I'm like, I'm gonna have the last possession, and then it's just a stupid fumble, like you can't control it just randomly. Like, why did that happen? Stupid.
Yeah, it's the worst. Absolute worst. And you want to throw your controller through the TV screen. You're just absolutely upset. So frustrating. I'm excited. I'm going to play you. I'm going to beat you.
We'll see about that.
No, I don't know. I'm not that good.
I'm not that good either.
I did win a Madden tournament when they used to have the video games thing downstairs.
I used to be really good too. I used to play online all the time. I don't play online anymore. So
I love it. Well, I'm sure you do a lot of outdoor things. Are you an outdoors guy?
Yeah. So I mean, I grew up here. So when I was younger, I used to snowboard a lot, go up skiing and snowboarding. Crystal's 35 minutes away. So back when I was younger, the ski season it dies so soon, and you still want to get up on the mountain. So kind of have a little story with you talked about shout outs or bringing up people that we went to high school. I love it. Yeah, so I know him as DJ Smith, but most people know him as Daniel, I guess.
Okay.
I don't know. He must be a junior or something. I don't know. But he and I used to go skiing a lot. So locals would know this, but after the Crystal closes down, they open up the gate to go up to top of Chinook, and then top of Chinook there's that pretty little Lake Tipsoo, and you can hike up above Tipsoo, and I've done that before, but it gets wet snow, so it's a little more tricky. But there's a nice creek that goes from Tipsoo all the way down to the White, right? So we used to always take that. I've done it 1,000 times, right? And normally what you do is you park at the top of Tipsoo and you park at the bottom, and then you just have to count how many roads you hop over before you can before you start looking for your car that parks at the bottom.
Yeah.
Well, DJ and I went up there, and we're in one vehicle, so we already knew we were going to have to hitchhike, but somehow, some way, we miscounted, and then we're like, well, wait a minute, we haven't seen a road in a while, and then the snow started getting patchy, so we ended up having to hike quite a ways back up the road. Yeah, once you get to the river, you're like, well, which way do we go? Obviously, go downhill, right? We ended up, going down the Cayuse Passway, and then there's that trailhead that finally we found a trail that goes back to the road. Then we hiked to the road, and then ended up having to hike all the way up that highway. And you think, all these cars passing you, stick out a thumb, somebody's going to pick us up.
All right.
Yeah, nobody picked us up. We got all the way to that intersection that goes Chinook or Cayuse.
Right. We're
right there. That's like almost, it gets really steep right there.
Right.
So it's pretty helpful. This guy in a Jeep finally slows down. He's like, hop in. While there's still cars behind him. He didn't even stop. He's like, just hop in. We've been walking for, 4 hours.
Right.
Like, we're dead tired. Like, oh, barely.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was, quite the adventure in the wilderness where you start to realize how easy it is to get lost in the snow.
Were you thinking?
That'd be fun. But...
Were you thinking to yourself, like, this is it?
No.
Like, overnight. We're like, we'll be here. We might be here overnight.
We might be here overnight. Yeah. Until we got the trailhead to get back up to the road. But
yeah.
Dude. That's one of those epic ones that we, every time we see each other, we're like, hey,
remember that time?
Yeah, I remember when we almost got stuck in the snow. Yeah.
We were watching something. They have like, I don't know what TV show, but it's like where they rescue people in these like scary, like nothing but snow areas.
So it's funny.
I saw you on TV.
Yeah, I had this other story. That same creek trail. You think I'd learn from the creek trail? I was going down there. My other buddy that grew up in the same neighborhood, Ryan White, and we're going down that trail. And normally I lead down the trail, but it was kind of later in the spring where it starts getting patchy, and you see some holes. And you're following a creek because you can hear the creek, but you're on top of it. And we get to this kind of upswing, and I'm like, well, maybe we should unstrap and kind of go like peek over this. He's like, no, I'll lead. And then it goes down, and all of a sudden, whoop, disappears. And I'm like, uh-oh. So I unstrapped, kind of climbed down there, and all I hear is gurgle, gurgle. I'm like, oh, shit, he's drowning. And I look down, and he's like, on his knees, kind of underneath the snow with his board got yanked underneath the snow, underneath that, So luckily there's kind of like a little cedar tree right there. So we kind of bent that down, and I stuck it down. I didn't want to crawl too close to the hole because I didn't want to go down there and both be screwed.
Right.
Pulled the tree in there, and he kind of reached his hands up and grabbed it. And then, kind of released the tree so it's got that spring.
Right.
And then I got another stick and stuck it underneath his other arm so he could get up, and then we got him out of the hole.
Wow.
But now he's, ice cold, soaking wet, every ounce. Now this one, thankfully, we went up there with girlfriends, and the girlfriends had drove the car down and were parked at the bottom. And they had the heater on. So
there you go. Oh,
so we went down and stripped out and got him in the car. But yeah.
Wow.
Same trail.
How old?
Same issues. I don't know, like 16.
So about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
A little over 10.
Yeah, 9.5.
Yeah. Well, let me. I don't really have any. I wish I could just sit here and swap stories with you.
I have lots of stories.
Well, I was going to tell you
my wilderness stories.
I can tell you my wilderness story, but I don't have one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm pretty. I mean, I probably have one, but I probably don't. I'm trying to think of like if there was anything that was scary. I mean, where I grew up was woods. And every once in a while, that would be
have adventures in the woods.
Well, yeah. I mean, we would go. Me and my brother would play war, where you grab like a yellow wiffle bat and pretend it's a gun, and the other person thinks you're just playing.
Oh, you didn't take the actual pellet gun?
No.
To go to pump?
No. Actually, I had neighbors that I won't mention, but they definitely had lots of guns. In fact, one year, and I don't know how we didn't get in trouble for this, but my sophomore year, Kellen Hall, who's listening right now, he was a part of it. I grew up in Selleck, right? And so it was me, Kellen, a few other people. I can't remember everything, but we all had it. We did a report on Selleck. Now, Selleck used to be the world's second largest inland mill back in the 1920s. And so if you go up there now, you'll see like these little 6 houses built together over here and 6 houses built over here and 6 houses built over here.
I've been up there and seen that. I didn't know that it was.
Yeah. And you had the Irish that lived over here and the Japanese that lived over in this group. And you had all these different, there was for the coal mining and also the mill. It was at the time in the 1910 or whatever, it was the same. It was growing at the same rate as Tacoma was. But it burned down right before the Great Depression. And I mean, they were cutting down trees and they were sending them up all across the world. I mean, they were going everywhere with it. And then they rebuilt it, and then it burned down after the Great Depression. Okay. And at that point, they said, we're done. We're out of here. And in fact, where I grew up, there, you could probably walk, 30 yards, and there's the old graveyard where you can see these gravestones from 1907, 1920, these kids that were 8 years old probably got that, what was it, the Spanish flu or whatever that was on this. So he saw that. So anyway, we go out there to do this, we had to do our video recording report. It's the one thing you do a year for history or whatever. So I'm like, hey, let's do Selleck. That'd be kind of cool. Go videotape the old sawmill. It's this huge cylinder that's all cement. It looks like something from Lost. And so we go out there, and these guys that were my age, but they weren't a part of our class, they were my friends, they had a plethora of guns. And so we pretended like we were in some South American drug lord area where they're taking us through as armed guards with these AK-47s as we were walking through to this forest and coming across this clearing and this and that. We were videotaping the whole darn thing. And now I look back on it, I'm like, how did we not get in trouble? How did the teacher not say, hey, could I get that VHS from you? Take this down to the police. Because I just saw probably about 4 or 5 AK-47s being held by 16, 17, and 18-year-olds.
That's just trouble right there.
Yeah. So that's my wilderness story. I stayed out of the wilderness. but
That's funny. I've been in wilderness my whole life, so I have all kinds of crazy stories.
Well, I like how we do a pod. By the way, what do you think of that intro? That song?
I love that song.
It was good.
Yeah.
My wife hated it. My wife was like, this is the dumbest thing. This is so stupid. It's
awesome. And then I thought about doing a duet, but I mean, you did it so well. And if you think about the Cheers song, it is just, that solo voice. And it's perfect.
Do you have a voice on you?
Hell no. I don't have a rhythm. I don't have a rhyme.
But yeah, so we'll do the obviously the beautiful intro, and then we'll go into the beer and we'll talk about that. We'll do a beer rant. I like the beer rants.
Yeah, especially against the big guys.
And then we'll do a wilderness survivor story.
Sure.
And then we'll talk about the pro tip of the week, and then whatever else we're talking about. But yeah, so save those for next time. I think we skipped over one on alcohol rules. Is there an alcohol rules thing?
Well, I was just going to rant about Budweiser. Basically, all the rules that are in place for alcohol are based on Budweiser.
What do you mean?
So a lot of friends asked for me to supply beer to their wedding, right? That's awesome. I have no problem with that. I'd love to supply it for you. But the thing with it is I can't really be at the wedding. They want me to come and serve my beer at the wedding.
Gotcha.
I can't represent myself.
Right.
You can hire a caterer and they can handle that sort of thing. The idea is if it was Budweiser, they'd send their Bud girls. They'd send some,
Gotcha.
the NASCAR person that they're, in order for everybody at that wedding would go, wow, Budweiser's amazing. They set my friend's wedding. They provided the beer, all these, famous people. So that's why there's rules against it, because if you start thinking about it, if Budweiser had the opportunity, they 100% would do that. And then you just always talk about Budweiser. It's to keep them in check, basically.
So there's a rule that you can't do that anymore?
I can't represent myself. I can sell my beer to you, but if I'm at the wedding, I'd rather not sell it to you, because then obviously I am Cold Street Brewery.
Right.
So I am representing myself. Now, who's checking that sort of thing?
So that's why people pick up their own kegs and do it themselves.
Yeah.
It's because there's kind of rules on that and regulations. Sure. Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's kind of like, also, I can't, I have the Courier Herald building now, but it's Cold Street Brewery. I couldn't, like how Kelly Mercantile is for sale now.
Yeah.
I couldn't buy Kelly Mercantile and still own Cold Street Brewery, because as long as there's beer on tap there, because it's conflict of interest. It would be the same as Budweiser buying a bunch of restaurants and having their beer on tap there, but not calling it Budweiser. Right?
Oh, okay.
So they're pushing Budweiser beer without you knowing that Budweiser owns it.
So let's say that you did buy Kelly's and you put stuff on tap and you called it Pole Street. You couldn't do it.
Couldn't do it. Have to call it Cold Street Brewery.
And then, but you're able to do it yourself. But you're able to do it then, or no?
Yes and no. I can have up to 3 locations.
Okay.
I already have 2 locations, so I want a 3rd location in
just continue just taking it over.
And just the trail, right? I started at one end of Cold Street. I want to own the whole street.
It's my street.
Yeah, every 50 yards, another Cold Street.
in 100 years, people are going to think, "Wow, Cold Street was named after Cold Street Brewery."
Right?
They're
Exactly.
It's going to be the complete opposite. That's so cool.
Right. Yeah.
Little revisionist history. Let's see. Okay, beer trivia.
Rule of thumb.
Let's talk about it.
Have you ever heard of the rule of thumb?
Well, I've heard that type of saying.
Do you know what's that stand for?
I just think it's a measurement or something with a thumb. I don't know. A rule.
So a rule of thumb is like, most of the times people say, well, if you're going to do that, the rule of thumb is to do it like this. Right? That's how it's always portrayed. The rule of thumb actually comes from brewing. So the thermometer is actually kind of a newer invention. They didn't have that until the late 1900s. I want to say like 1930, 1940. I haven't looked it up, but something like that. Yeah. So every time before that, brewing's been in place since the 1400s, something like that. So rule of thumb is you make your wort, so you're boiling it down to concentrate it and break up the different nutrients and stuff. So to add yeast, you don't want to throw it in when it's super hot, because it'll just kill the yeast, right? It's like boiling off all your germs. So you stick your thumb in it, and if you could put your thumb in it, then it was cool enough to be able to add the yeast to it. So
okay.
Rule of thumb is a very common saying that came from brewing.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's your little brew knowledge.
I want to use that
this week.
I'm going to use that. All right. Well, we've done a lot on here. One thing we didn't do, though, and you have to, if you don't do this,
shout outs.
If you don't do these shout outs, you may be on the street
the
somewhere.
Whole shout out thing, I'm totally new at that, so I have to shout out my girlfriend.
There we go.
Erica Marsh.
There we go.
She's been super supportive. Obviously owning a business, it takes a lot of my time.
Sure.
But then she's also been with me, helping with the tap room downtown. When you come down there, you can see a lot of work in the place. We've We've done a lot of art and a lot of wood. She's the one that's been handing up the wood up the ladder and, nailing the nail gun and all that, And
you're barking orders and...
Yeah, right. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so throwing a shout out for her.
Right on, Erica.
Yeah. Then on top of that, I wanted to shout out for Jeremy Elliott, who also helped me in the tap room. Elliott Farms is a great local farm. They have beef for sale. They have corn when the corn's for sale. On top of that, Jeremy also runs a great little business where he does all kinds of farm work is majority of what he does, but he can do any type of remodels and stuff like that. Where he helped me with is the health department was kind of funny. They needed a floor drain, which is a super stupid drain. So you have to have this clearance. So if your sink backs up, it will flow onto the floor rather than into the sink. So in my opinion, if my sewer backs up into my sink, I'm going to close down for the day and get that fixed, right?
Right.
'Cause it's not going to smell. Instead, you want it to go all over my floor. Either way, I'm going to be closed for the day. But it introduces kind of a problem. So, obviously there's a foundation, solid cement.
Right.
How do you get through solid cement? Well, you call Jeremy Elliott and he brings out his hot saw and we we master this plan that, well, the Rainier closes at 11 p.m. So we'll just say 11:30 p.m. and we go in there and throws on some goggles and crank her up. And little to know is it's kind of basically a chainsaw inside and it's all this gas. So there's gas fumes. It's just reeking like it's burning the eyes. And they're just it's some thick cement. But that's a small town right there where we're like, well, let's hash a plan, and I'll meet you in the middle of the night, and we'll just burn this up. Yeah, nobody will know. Yeah, but then we had to hook up some serious fans and blow out the thing.
Did it take you a night, or did it take you a couple nights?
It took us a couple hours. It was good 3 hours worth of cutting that, and then it's a solid chunk of cement.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, that we had to pull out of the hole. But
wow.
And thank you, Jeremy Elliott. Shout out.
Shout out.
Elliott Farms.
Right
Him and his wife Sarah run Elliott Farms, and good people, good hometown people.
It's good. Do you want to hold off on some of these others for future, or do you already have?
I have other. So Chris, I wanted to shout out Chris Drewley. He's for sure. He's covering tonight. So
right on, Chris.
I don't know if you know, but Cold Street Brewery is open from noon until at least 8 on weekdays.
Yeah.
So I had to cut out a little early. He's covering for me.
Yeah.
Appreciate Chris. Doing great.
He sold me a couple cars back in the day.
Yeah, he's a great salesman.
Good guy. Yeah.
That's why I don't mind him behind the bar, because I know he's going to push some brew for me. He's also helped me in the tap room too. His handwriting is some of the engraved Cole Street stuff. We like to draw it out.
Yeah,
I've drawn it enough times that I'm like, I need some new input, and he did that for us. And then
so how did you guys ever meet up, you and Chris?
Oh yeah, so we're in Lions together. He's actually the one that he's my sponsor to the Lions Club.
Really?
Shout out Lions Club.
Yeah.
Uniclaw Lions Club. Lions Club's getting a little older. We need some new blood in there if anybody's interested. It's it's a support group. We do a lot of great things. Camp Leo, it supports autistic kids.
Yeah.
They can get out and do a camp just like any other kids go to your 6th grade camp. We have a special camp that's just for autistic kids. And then we do all kinds of, we also have an eyeglasses exchange. So, underprivileged kids, your lower income people, they might be living with a subscription that's, not what they should have.
Right.
So you come to us and you let us know, and we can get you glasses.
Wow.
Also, anybody that has old glasses that you want to throw away, don't throw them away. Recycle them with us, and then we reuse them for those people.
Right
so
on.
Those are the two major things that we do in town. In the wintertime, we sell swag, and we do that's another fundraiser for Camp Leo. We do a bunch of other things, but those are the two that really pop off to me right now.
Right on. Well, cool. So that's how you guys met?
That's how we met, was through the Lions. Yep.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Well, right on. So is that just open to anybody kind of a thing, or what?
Yeah, it's Lions Club has been around for a long time, and it's all around the world. A lot of people don't realize that it's all around the world. It's female, male, it doesn't matter. our Lions Club in Enumclaw, we meet every Tuesday at noon. Obviously, with the COVID, we haven't been meeting for a while.
Sure.
But yeah,
Okay.
Hit me up if you want more information. You can find us on Facebook, Enumclaw Lions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right on. All right. Well, let's save some of these other shout outs. Want to save some? Okay. All right. We'll save some. Everyone, thanks for listening. If you have questions on brewing, if you have questions on the Lions Club, if you have questions on outdoors, like if you want to know more about where to hike in the area when you take your crowler, talk to Sean. Go to 1627 Cole Street. Say, hey, I'd like that crowler of the brown. And then you get that and also point me in the right direction of a great trail. And he'll be able to do that. Right?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. Any last words?
Drink local.
And,
keep it local.
And you did this thing at the end of the last two.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers, everybody.